Alright, Team Caragosian, we left off with chapter 2. It's called Smash Mouth Taffy. But I really need the GeForce 5000, Sebastian said to his family over dinner. Practically every boy in school got the latest gaming system over the holiday, except him. I don't think that's a good idea, Sebastian. His mother scooped a helping of rice onto her plate. We'd like to see you doing something more worthwhile with your time. Maybe you could take up something like soccer, his father said, like Jason. Jason's freckled face lit up. You could be on my team, yeah! Sebastian looked across the table at his great Aunt Martha, who always came to dinner on Wednesdays. What do you think, Aunt Martha? He made a pleading face at her, hoping she could solve his problem. Aunt Martha set down her fork. I think Sebastian should earn the money to buy this system. Perhaps if he put his efforts toward doing something useful to earn it, he would deserve the benefits of having this GeForce 50 thingamajig. Sebastian's parents glanced at each other. Earn the money, his mother said. Sebastian could wash dishes, babysit. I like this idea. The lawn does need weeding, his father added. The garage could use a clean out. By the time Sebastian makes enough to buy the GeForce, our boy will be a changed man. He'd be able to have what he wants if he shows us that he can be helpful too. Smiling, Aunt Martha began to butter a roll. I'm glad we could think of something. Sebastian frowned. Babysitting? Cleaning out garage? Thanks a lot, Aunt Martha. He'd rather eat pickles dipped in bug guts before he'd do all that. He pushed back from the table. I'd like to be excused. Mrs. Caragosian thinks our friend Sebastian, not Team Caragosian Sebastian, because he's a hard worker. But Miss Caragosian thinks this Sebastian's kind of lazy. He just wants someone to give him the money to get the gaming device. But that isn't the way it works in the world. If Mrs. Caragosian wants something, she has to earn money for it. Sebastian should be willing to do some work. He went to his bedroom to sulk, kind of to pout and be sad about how unreasonable the idea was. He tossed himself onto the bed. All he wanted was a simple gaming system, something everybody else's parents had no trouble getting. But no, he had to be stuck with a family who wanted him to be helpful. That sounds like Mrs. Caragosian's boys. That's, Mrs. Caragosian hears all the time the things that everybody else's parents let kids do. Mrs. Caragosian and Mr. Caragosian were always really, really, really strict when the boys were growing up. But they're now 19 and 16, and they're both really good boys. So sometimes strict parents are smart. Someone knocked. Come in, Sebastian muttered. Sebastian's door opened, and Aunt Martha stepped in. Her old lady handbag hung off her arm. Did I say something wrong at the table, Sebastian? Sebastian sighed. No, I'll be fine. Aunt Martha sat on the edge of his bed. I was only trying to be helpful. I know. She opened up her purse, reached inside, and pulled out a piece of taffy. Aunt Martha always had a load of taffy in her purse. Ever since Sebastian was little, she'd been doling them out. This might not solve your problems, Aunt Martha said, but my taffy will do you a world of good, Sebastian finished. That's what she called the candies. The paper around the candies said as much, lettered in Aunt Martha's shaky handwriting. Sebastian undid the wrapper and popped the candy into his mouth. It melted easily with sweet yumminess. Instantly, he felt better. What's in these things? Sebastian said. You know I can't tell you that, Sebastian. Your great-grandpa Nelson said the family recipe stays with me. She patted her purse. This candy has been doing good for us for more than 100 years. That long. Indeed, Martha stood up. Take a few for the road. Seems like you're going to need them. She handed Sebastian a plastic bag full of candy and left the room. Sebastian stared at the bag. Then he closed his eyes and wished it were a G-Force 5000 instead. Man, Mrs. Karagosian thinks Sebastian needs to be willing to do a little bit of work for his G-Force 5000. All right, Team Karagosian, I'm going to stop there so it loads easier. And I'll keep reading for the next